Awesome. Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to be attempting to merge our Tuesday meeting and our Wednesday meeting, see how that pans out. So we're going to do our normal Tuesday topics, and then we're going to hand it over to Tony for some aerobic education. And afterwards, we're going to go into our family breakout rooms. So for our agenda, we're going to watch our fourth episode of 365 Journey to Health with Desiree. We're going to connect the video topic to the question of the week, have a small discussion about this week's upcoming homework, aerobic education, our family rooms. Then we're going to come back into the main room and give everybody an opportunity to share if they feel like they have something to share or they want something they want to share with everyone outside of their family room. And then we're going to have a few moments for general questions and answers if anybody is still lost, having trouble getting started, or knows somebody who wants to jump on board and may feel like it's too late to hop on our train. And without further ado, episode 4. Okay, come on.
I personally like to intermittent fast, which means I just eat in a smaller window. Usually I don't eat for about 16 hours. And when I come out of the fast, I like to have something lighter. So one of the options I like is almond butter. And I used to just have a scoopful, but now I like to add something like celery, trying to get vegetables in. Yeah, let's do it. Breaking my fast today was cooking from Coach Jenny's mom. Thank you. It's a egg pancake and it has vegetables in it.
Tell us what happened since you and I met last.
Yeah, it's funny because right after we met, my life actually went through a lot of more like stressful things. But the one thing I did focus on was my plate. I found that just focusing on eating the quality helped because like my body felt good. So my head, I was all stressed and I was upset, but at least my stomach wasn't hurting. Like I found that if I just had, one night I just had chicken and beets and yams, and I just had like really colorful plate, and I was not feeling really good. I was kind of depressed because of the other stuff, but then I'm like, oh, well, my body feels good. And then I trained, and then I found that I felt better.
Do you feel guilt when you eat?
Not anymore. I remember a point when I did, like very shameful, and probably because when you've been heavier your whole life, like in your family, they can make that a focus, so it was always like I would be on honor roll or something, but then, it would always fall back on, my weight. Yeah, there was some guilt and shame before, but then now it's not really guilt and shame. It's just like I'm scared. It's more of like a fear. It's like I'm scared I'm going to get re-addicted to it, like kind of things.
You're changing a lifelong relationship that you've had with food. I think what's important is for you to remember
and remind yourself that this is a relationship that you've had with food for so many years, and that it's going to take time to build that trust again, and know that you shouldn't feel guilty, and this is a very natural part of living is eating, and you need to. And I don't think you should feel that shame. I think you should trust yourself and know that you're taking care of your body, and that it's going to take time, and consistency is really important.
If you look at this food list that I'll send, you can look through the different categories and you can circle foods that you might be willing to try. And from that, you can generate a shopping list, a grocery shopping list that says, when I go to the market this next time, when I go to the produce section, I am going to get my beets. This is me speaking for you. But wow, I wonder what that romaine lettuce is, or I wonder what bok choy is. It sort of broadens your expansive choices.
I think the list will help, because then I can, like you said, just circle the things I like, and I know how to prepare them. I guess it's just lazy. It's just pure laziness, honestly.
And I was actually going to recommend something else as well. It kind of works for me. So sometimes I have a meal and I'm like, this is a great meal. I love it. This is so good, and it's good for me, and I'm full, and so I'll write it down, and I'll when I am getting to that point where I'm so hungry, I'll go back to that list of meals that I have. Like, let's say I'll have as a snack like a Greek yogurt with strawberries and walnuts. That's not the first thing that'll come to my mind when I'm like, hey, I'm hungry. I'd much easier to be like, give me that bagel. And then I'll go to that list. I'm like, oh, Greek yogurt, strawberries, walnuts. I can do something like this. I can pull something like this together. And so I think that's helpful, because I get the same way. I'll like kind of put off eating, and then I get to that point where I'm like, I'm hungry now. Let's see what is available, and what's the closest and fastest and easiest thing, which usually is either like a candy bar or like a bagel or something, and so then I'll say, you know what, no, let me take a look at my list and see what's on here, and then I'll go and I'll have that, because being prepared is so important when you're trying to reach a goal. I really wish you the best of luck. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I think you've made such great progress, and I think you're just going to keep going in the right direction. And I'm here to support you in any way. I'm on Instagram. You can find me. You can message me. You can email me. I'll send you my number. You can text me anytime. Honestly, I'm in this with you. I want you to know I feel like I'm part of your journey, and I want to support you whatever way possible.
So moving forward, we saw that there was a continued topic on nutrition and our relationship with food. And for this week's question, we're asking that everybody take the time this week to write down what their normal grocery list looks like, and take the time to rank those on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the healthiest and 1 being the least healthiest. And divide them up and see how many of them rank less than 5. And don't let that number freak you out, because if you have 5 items that rank less than 5 or 15 items that rank less than 5, what we want to do is bring that to our attention to start making small adjustments, because our relationship with food has been lifelong, and we can't change that drastically. We're going to have to do that in small increments. So after you do write down your list and divide up how many items you feel are unhealthy, you can make that part of your goal for this upcoming week. Connecting it to our, going on to our homework for the week, we want to reflect on last week's goals. We want to take the time to see what did work and what didn't work. Were we a little too ambitious and thought we were going to get 5 days 150 minutes and 6 days of strength training? Or did we kind of sell ourselves short and think that we were only going to be able to get 30 minutes and you went out and got an hour this week? Let's reflect on all of our goals for the last few weeks and use those to construct our new goals for the week. And we also want to tie that into our question of the week. Our goal should be how can we adjust our shopping list? Going back to potentially having 5, 10, or 15 items that fall below the rank of 5, we want to make an action plan. Maybe this week we want to put one more item on there that is above 5, or eliminate one of those items below 5. And those small adjustments are what's going to help us along this year-long journey. And we all have items that fall below that 5 scale, me included. My guilty pleasure is chocolate and Doritos. I have to have those every time I go to the grocery store. It's my guilty pleasure, but I try to balance that out with having enough items that are above the 5 that are healthier for me, so I don't feel too guilty when I reach for a couple chips or when I reach for a piece of chocolate. And we want to continue practicing our mobility videos and our strength videos on our off days. There's a lot of videos out right now, so we put a small pause. We'll have some new videos next week, but continue practicing those, get familiar with the movements. We want to make sure that we become proficient in these movements before introducing some new movements or movements that are a little bit more complex that might use the movements we've talked about beforehand. And now we're going to go ahead and pass it off to Tony for our aerobic education. Tony?
All right, already here, Chris. All right, so let's start off by talking about what is aerobic exercise. Well, to start off, aerobic means oxygen is being used. So when we're doing activities that need that oxygen to get that energy, that's when we start hitting that aerobic exercise. With aerobic exercise, you're looking at continuous rhythmic movements of large muscle groups. So that's like your whole leg complex, your whole back complex, whole movements, including big amount of muscles. This kind of activity with aerobic exercise strengthens both the heart and the lungs. Now, there are various types of aerobic activity you can do. You don't want to just limit yourself to just walking or running or jogging. You can go ride a bike, you can use an elliptical, you can dance, you can swim. Don't seclude yourself to certain exercises. Try a wider range. That way you can find out what you have the most fun doing, and you can include that in your life easier to continue with. All right, so I want y'all to know that in any aerobic exercise that basically anyone can do it. The important part is you keep training. So right now I'm gonna show you how breaking stereotypes with an ultra marathon with this video right now. Chris, if you can, yeah.
People think fat people never get off the couch. And people think that fat people sit around eating all day. My mission is to challenge people's assumptions about fat people. I'm Myrna Valerio, and I'm a runner. I've been running long distance for about 8 years. I've done 9 marathons and 10 ultra marathons, with my longest being 100K. Traditionally, trail races and other outdoor events have not always been welcoming to people like me. I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I'm fat. When I go to a race, I know I'm breaking the mold. It's still very white and very male. So I know going in that I'm going to be different. 10 years ago, I lived a very stressful life, and so that took a huge toll on my health. I consulted with a doctor who told me that I needed to change my lifestyle pretty drastically if I wanted to see my son grow up. So I did. I'd had some experiences with people always making the assumption that whatever I was doing, it was for weight loss. After a couple of years, it was not a weight loss thing anymore. It's about fitness. Running makes me feel like my most human self. My first mile was pretty awful. It was painful. It was slow. When I'm feeling like this is really too difficult, I know that in the end, I'm doing it for a reason. There's always a larger reason. The end goal not always only being to finish, but the more important thing is that I'm out there. Because sometimes I come in last. It's amazing to me how many messages I get on a daily basis saying, thank you for being you. Thank you for living in your own space and taking up space and not being afraid to do that, because that has allowed me to do that. I'm going to continue doing it because I think people still need to see me.
I saw with her that she was under that stereotype of heavily weighted. So it shows that with that lifelong goal, with that drive to perform and to have that fitness in your lifestyle, that it's not just about weight loss. It's also about getting that good feeling from exercises. Now, another conception that could be it is that you feel like age is an issue when it comes to doing exercise or aerobic activity. If you look at this senior track star, she's going to show that age becomes a number as long as you put that healthy lifestyle into it. After this commercial break.
I'm very happy for all of this progress. I'm a nice example of what you can do for yourself, and I thank God every day for my blessings.
Picked her up one morning. I said, you coming with me? I bought her extra pair of sneakers. She finished the 5K, and the rest is history. She just kept running after that. I'm glad that she's been able to be an inspiration and an example, not just for young people, but for people her age and everything in
All right, thank you, Chris. So with this, it shows that anyone can do aerobic activity. Put in the work, follow your program, do the training, and you're well on your way to do races like these two. So what are some benefits from aerobic activity? It increases your cardiorespiratory endurance. So when you think about it, it lets you go on hikes longer, it lets you go on walks longer. If you've ever been to like the zoo and you get tired halfway through, you know, once COVID's all gone, go back to the zoo. The San Diego Zoo specifically is like a really big zoo. That helps you last longer within those kind of events. Decreasing resting blood pressure is very important, especially as you age. Resting blood pressure can become an issue. You also want to prevent that because it could lead to heart issues along the way as well. Right here again, resting heart rate decreases. There's an increased blood flow to muscles, allowing for more oxygen delivery and allowing for more energy as you do these aerobic exercises. Some guidelines to follow when you think about it. We gave you that 5 days or more for moderate exercises, 150 minutes or more a week. We break it down 30 minutes for 5 days, but if you want to increase it to give yourself a better health benefit, that's what else you can do. For those who start doing vigorous training, once we get you to that level, once you're comfortable at that level, 3 days a week of vigorous training for about 75 minutes will start getting you better benefits as well. You know, aim for that goal of 30 minutes minimum. If you need to, work up to it. Don't start it at 30 minutes if you're not ready and comfortable to be there. Like we said, this is a year-long journey. We want you to grow and progress as we go along with all of us. For those of you that like to do your count your steps, think about 7 steps or 7,000 steps or more a day. The ACSM guidelines suggest this as one of your suggestions for aerobic activity or aerobic exercise. As you increase your exercise, try to increase like 10% duration every 1 to 2 weeks. So when we're looking at 30 minutes, that's only 3 more minutes a week or every 2 weeks that you're gonna add on. And as with recovery, like we showed you in strength, hydration, food, and rest are very important. So make sure you stay hydrated and you're eating and you're sleeping. Also with aerobic activities, since you're using such large muscular groups, stretching and mobility. Those videos that Jenny gave out as a gift are perfect examples to use before or after a run.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. So now I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we're going to move on to our breakout room so we can meet with our families.
Alrighty, everybody. So we do have a couple more in the chat that have not identified their program within their name. So I'm going to go through Asia. Which group are you in?
We're in prep, sorry.
Prep. Perfect. Go with the right one. Evelyn. Balam.
Foundation.
Foundation. Perfect. Janwin was program. Jasmine is foundation. Gian.
Foundation.
Perfect. And Yesenia, we don't have anyone from El Camino tonight. So
Program.
Where are you going?
Program.
Program. Perfect. All righty. And perfect. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open up all the rooms and you can meet with your families.
Like we were like in the middle of a great conversation, and then thank God Rachel was able to take over naturally for Prep Fam. Thank you, Rach.
Letty here. I see Letty. Oh, hey, Letty. Reach out to Yadira. I sent you both an email. Yadira is here. She was. Did we lose Yadira in the transition from
No,
rooms?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
She's
Uh,
right
I'm on
below
top
your
of
screen.
Tony right there.
That's right. Josh was in the way.
Josh.
So I sent you an email so the two of you
Yes,
can.
I got it. Thank you.
All right. So does anyone want to share anything they learned from their family meetings?
Foundation's doing great. Everybody back?
No one's got it. No, yeah, everybody's back.
One of the
Gary,
things that
for the
go ahead.
Oh, I was just keeping Gary accountable. He's cutting out ice cream on his grocery list for the week.
One of the things that we spoke about in our group was working in some of your strength work on your walks. Everybody seems to be doing well on the aerobic portion. Look for opportunities to do the squat, to do the push-up, to do a pulling motion on your walks. In terms of there's natural equipment. There's benches, there's poles, there's trees, there's fences. Look around as you walk and say, where could I work this in? And then you kind of hit two birds with one stone. You don't have to worry about, okay, I got to go back and do my strength. Get it in at the same time.
One thing you could do is if you do walk in a neighborhood where there's a lot of stop signs or stoplights, every time you get to one, do your 10 or your dozen squats or push-ups or something like that. Not to say that you should find a route that avoids all stop signs so that you don't have to do them. But you can use that as like your encouragement. Pick a route where you're going to hit four different stop signs or stoplights. You're going to do during that walk. You're going to do 10 push-ups or 10 squats or 10 air crunches or just anything, any one of the exercises that we've included in your program, whether that's prep program or foundation, and just incorporate it that way.
The other thing you can do is there's been some conversations about creating your backpack into weights that you can put in the backpack, is that you can wear the backpack on the walk. That adds a little resistance to the walk. And then same thing at the stop sign, you take the backpack off and you do your lifts. Then you put it back on and continue your walk. So work it in, make it multi-purpose.
All right.
Other questions?
Any final questions?
Remember, if you get questions during the week, you can always send a question to the info line and we'll get back to you.
Or also contact your assigned instructor. So we do want to have you utilize that assigned instructor and really take advantage of that resource, because they're going to be the ones working with you that journey. But not to say that you shouldn't email the info. You can always email info as well. But we do want to stress that working with your assigned instructor.
Does anybody have a 30-second share? A 30-second feel-good share?
I do.
Hit us, Norma.
I was only drinking like 6 of those 16.9 ounces of water, and I mean, I'm supposed to drink 14, but I went up to 9.5. So to where I was, I'm getting there. So yeah, that was my 30-second.
Woo! Go Norma.
Probably need to use the bathroom a little more often, but that's okay. That's a good thing.
Yes, doctor. Yes. I stay home more.
Good job, everybody.
Great work, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Dr. Loy, I didn't hear your alarm go off for your walk. Where's the quack?
I know, we heard the quack.
It did go off.
Okay.
Hasta.
All right.
Everyone.
We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.
Mr. Doug.
Nope.